students of Health Through Knowledge. Welcome to our interview, our discussion with our dear friend Patricia, not from Spain, from Switzerland. She is a scientist and a personal communication expert, right?
Psychology and science of communication.
Science of communication. Okay, and she will really squeeze me like we squeeze an orange juice today.
I hope so.
Let's see what kind of juice we get out of this discussion.
Okay, so...
No, silence.
No, you brought some very interesting horns here. They're huge, so tell us about it. Where they come from?
They are African cow horns.
Cow horns?
Yeah, polished African cow horns.
Okay.
If they are not polished, they don't look as nice. They look also nice, but not as nice as this.
And why did you brought us those beautiful horns? I mean, they're huge. They're quite light.
They are very light. They're almost like plastic. They are empty, yeah, hollow. And the size is not the biggest size you can find. You can find even bigger ones, 150, 1 meter 50. I would say is normal. And the idea behind the whole thing is that we use it as an energizer.
Okay, so how did you came to this idea to use that big horns of those cows as energizer? I mean, there's certainly a story behind it.
There definitely is a very interesting and quite funny story behind it, yes. I bought a cup made out of this horn, and then I put some water in it and wanted to see what comes out when I test it, before and after. So I tested the activated water and I tested the horn itself, and the energy level, just to repeat, from 0 to 18. 18 is the max, 9 is medium, human body in a healthy state, 0 is very bad, everything below 9 will drag energy from us, everything above 9 will give energy to our system. So these horns amazed me really very much. Not only look they very nice, but they have a tremendous energy. They go up to 17.5.
17.5?
Yes, max. So it's about the same energy level as, for example, a tourmaline powder. So, and then I went to the factory, the people making these cups.
They only make the cups for the tourists, or
yes.
They use it themselves?
No.
So it was just a crazy idea of someone to make cups for tourists because it looks nice.
Right. And they sell it mainly in the 5-4-star hotels for the tourists.
Okay.
And this is a waste product so far.
Okay.
That means when they slaughter the cows or when the cow die, especially in the south, for example, in the southwest, they don't even sell you a cow because they love their cows so much. So if you want to buy a cow, they will not sell it to you unless they are in money problems, then they will sell a cow to you.
Is it like in India that it's very similar, that they're holy?
No.
It sounds like...
No, in Africa I wouldn't say that there's perhaps 100 years ago, but now, no, today, not in these days, there's nothing holy. There are many unholy things, demons and other things, possessions, but holy things, no.
But the Africans also use a lot of natural material from animals, or some herbs also for the voodoo or the old...
This is the western part.
Yeah,
I mean
the western part.
Okay. Cameroon, Togo, Ivory Coast, this is the western part, and I'm in the central, Uganda, close to Rwanda, close to Kenya. There's no voodoo, there's black magic, there's no doubt, but
they used it also, these horns, I mean, it's amazing.
Yes, it's very amazing. Do that for our people on both sides so that they can see.
Big horn, like a devil?
No, it is really like this all day, all night. It's not a weapon, it's not a tool. So it's really, we can see that here, it is somehow twisted. It's like a spiral, yeah, a spiral, exactly. So it's somehow accelerating energy. And what did I want to say? Yeah, the Africans at the place I live, Uganda, they're even scared of things like this because they think there might be black magic involved. So
okay, but there is a story behind, maybe.
Yeah,
so that they use it in the earlier times. The
witches or the black magic, the witchcraft people, they use many fancy stories. I mean, things, they chop off the head of chickens and then they dig it there, and they witchcrafted things like this. They do even up to date. So then we went to see this factory, and we did some muscle testing, and it was so amazing. They were really like from another star, you know. They were so puzzled about the whole story. And then they started to realize that they have really gold in their hand, and they regard it as trash, really.
And I thought that they would make fun of the tourists by selling these cups.
Oh, they look nice, you know, it's like art. As you can see, it's really like, when you buy it,
I mean, it's beautiful.
It's really beautiful, definitely. And so we did some treatment. You know, the amazing thing is, as you know, whenever the energy level is above 15, 14, then you can expect amazing things either from the food supplement, or from the subject like this. So I knew that I can show them some things which really might sound or look like miracles for them. And that's what we did. The horn treated a guy who had severe back pain. I just told him, come on, let's put it on the back. I took a salt, how do you call it in English? A salt, Salzstreuer. Salt giver, anyway. You know, where the salt is in for the food. I put it just on his back and I said, look, let's see what's going to happen. But out of experience, I know what's going to happen. So after a few minutes, the pain was gone. He was able to bend. He was not able to bend at all. He was able to bend, touch the ground with his fingers.
And he was the manager of this company?
He is the engineer in charge, and he was so excited. He was calling everybody. And eventually we will have a presentation of the whole. This is a governmental institution about food processing, stuff like that. They do many other things. So let's see. That's quite interesting. Another thing, you forgot to give me my water glass, please. Because when you put this in the water, it will really increase energy dramatically. Okay,
but you did not finish your story.
Which story?
What happened with the water you had in this cup? So you tested, and you said it was a 17.5 energy level.
Yes, right.
But what did you do with the water?
I drank the water.
You drank the water,
yes.
And you had plenty of energy, or what happened?
I mean, nothing special happens to me, but if a person who is sick would drink it, I think they should feel a dramatic increase in energy, and they would have to urinate a lot more in the beginning, because it's really cleansing the body out of toxins. But we had, these guys, they reported some amazing stories, which I can tell you now. Now he told me that he has to hide the horns away, because people come from all over the place and buy the whole horn and put it in the car. And his wife, he was paralyzed on one side for years. And she had very high blood pressure, and then he had the idea, let's give her a bangle with them out of the horn. Within 2 days, all the problems disappeared. And he is living, or he lives, next 30 meters apart from a travel station, electrical power station. And then he gets some really severe respiratory problems. And then he had the idea, let's just put this in my pocket here, in my chest bag pocket. Believe it or not, he said within 2 minutes it was gone. So things like this we hear all the time. So it's a very cheap product, very effective product.
You're turning something all the time in your hand. Just show it maybe to...
That's just because I'm so nervous.
So what
this is the heart. We can make any shape. We have crosses, we have round shaped ones, we have smaller disc ones to put them into your shoes. This is a very, very interesting thing because it will instantly, it will balance your body from a physical, it will balance your body from a physical point of view. Not only your emotional, but also your physical body will profit highly from this if you put it just in your shoes. What else do we have? Cups, we have plates, forks, knives, spoons. You can make everything out of it.
But this is now polished, right?
Yes.
So they were something because it's quite shiny. Is there something on it
No.
to protect? So
No,
it's
nothing.
just the polishing makes them so brilliant.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because it would be also interesting to know if it changes also the quantity of energy if it's polished or if it's open, because if it's
No
open
change.
and raw, it's
No, I tested.
you test it.
No change, but the change is in the size. If you test a Swiss cow horn, which is about this size here, this size, energy is about 12. So there's a
So
huge
it's even
difference.
more than 9.
Yeah, but still with 12 you cannot expect really any dramatic change.
Okay.
But with
We
this,
need more.
usually we want more, right?
We want more.
We want the max.
Okay.
If we can get the max, by the way, if we can get it for almost free, then I think we should go for the max. So what we are going to do, we are going to put 4 of them in the swimming pool on each corner. Then what we are going to do, we have in Africa, you use water tanks. We have running water, but it's let's say, stored in water tanks. And I'm going to put that in the water tank.
You could also make a little hole and let it throw inside.
This is exactly what we had in our mind, yes. There are many ideas. What I want to do is I want to make tiles. You know what a tile is? A keramikplättli.
You have to translate for the English.
Tiles. This is ceramic tiles. Instead of using ceramic tiles, which might also be okay, but we want to use this, and I'm telling you why. Then you can make your table a healing table. Everything which is on the table will be increased in energy. Then you can make a healing chair. You know, somebody comes to visit you, you have the chair with the cow horn plated.
You put a cushion on at the top.
You don't even tell him, just sit down, let's see how you feel after 5 minutes. I think you will have some quite amazing stories.
Shall I look if I have a play?
There's none there, no. So there are many ideas really. We could also do what, for example, instead of using tiles on the floor, we could use these kind of tiles. So let's see what the future brings. I'm quite excited about the product because first of all it's free, it's a waste product for them.
I think if they realize how precious this material is, it will be not for free anymore.
This is a bit the problem, yes.
So we have to be fast. So tell us a little bit about your project, the next project you have about the horns. You said something like producing, but where can the people order it or get it?
The horns and the product you can get on tatwellness.com, as you know. Projects, we don't have too many, honestly, because I was talking to my wife just 2 days ago, and we are no longer that excited as with our German interview, to be honest. So let's
What happened?
Life is complicated, you know. That's why life as such is not that complicated, but people make it very complicated.
That's why I said, because if they realize how precious it is, they will keep it and they will have their own projects.
No. These people are not a problem. They are interested that we buy.
Or is it the government? Because
yes.
you said that the company is government owned.
No, there's also not. The problem is the bureaucrats everywhere. I mean, I sent some to the Netherlands. They ask for 3 certificates. I have to pay for 3 certificates. Then we ship them. It's not enough. They want another one. So eventually they will be destroyed in the Netherlands. Things like this you face all the time. And then, you know, this is just...
They believe that it's from an animal, from a protected animal, or...?
No, we have 3 certificates, veterinary certificates, that it's from cow horn. So, but you know, bureaucrats, they can always find a little fly on a piece of cloth and think it's shit, but So what can we do? We just have to stay calm and take it, let's say, easy, and don't lose patience, because otherwise I might fall sick. And my wife told me if I get angry with them all the time, I might even die quickly. So
And she wants to keep you though.
She wants to keep me, and I also want to stay some more years. But this is really a problem, because as a businessman in these days, it's very, very difficult to make proper business. Let's say 10 years ago, no issue. But in these days, you cannot rely on anything. So this is really, it's just annoying, but we have to cope with it. This is life on this planet. That's why we talked about democracy last time.
Okay. So you have it on the tip, on the tongue.
Yeah, you see that the whole thing starts really because power is given to people who do not deserve the power they have. And
they can't handle it.
Yeah, they can't handle it. They are unfriendly when you go to the airport and they check you. They behave as they are your master, but they are not. They are really your servant, because we pay their salaries, but they don't understand that. They think they are our masters. So, and this is what we discussed last time. This is the curse of this doctrine. We can call it a doctrine. They spread it all over the world. They even use weapons to create democracy, which I think is a little bit ridiculous. But you see, this is it's like a disease spreading. You can look all over the world. You have Democratic Republic of China, People's Republic of China, you have Democratic Republic of Congo, you have Republic of France. So this republic idea is spreading all over the world, and if we look at these countries, results are devastating. Over the last 40 years, I don't know how you see it, but any aspect of life, let it be music, moral, religion, science and art, have been destroyed totally. They are so primitive, even so brutal sometimes, it's really hard to look at. So I think this kind of social system in the long run has to disappear and replaced by a new system.
But you came now from Uganda. You're living a part of, most of your time you're living in Uganda. So how is the situation there? The
situation there is, for me, it's a little bit better than here, because people, as bureaucrats, the so-called officials, they don't interfere that much into your life as here. Let's say I want to build a swimming pool here in Europe, in Switzerland, then I would have to apply for a permission. This permission would eventually cost me 5,000 Swiss francs, minimum, I guess. So, and they might find certain things which I have to follow, that costs another few thousand Swiss francs. In Uganda, if I build a house, a swimming pool, a chicken stable or whatever, I just build it.
Because it's on your land.
It's on my land, correct. So this is an advantage. Another big advantage for me is just how officials behave. Not all of them, but let's say policemen. You can just dream of this in Europe or even in the United States when I see how they behave.
So tell us an example so we can grab it.
There are very funny examples, really. I mean, I was stopped by a highway policeman. He used a mobile radar gun, and he stopped me with 70 miles per hour instead of 50.
Okay.
And I said, okay, sorry for that, it's my mistake. I did not even say that there is a speed limit or anything. He said, yes, there is one. And I said, okay, I was just flowing with the road and with the other people. And
he just catched you out of
he stopped me. He stopped me and all the others passed. And then my wife started talking to him and gave him about 2 Swiss francs and said, why don't you go and drink a tea? And he went and had his tea and let us go. But another good example is another one. He stopped me because I was overtaking over a cross line. Huh? You're not allowed to overtake. And I overtook. He stopped me. I said, okay, how much do I have to pay? Because I made a mistake. But there was a truck before me, so in front of me. So okay, how much is it? 40,000. okay, then let's pay. And then my friends talked to him, they apologized twice, and then, by the way, I forgot my driver's license. It would cost me about $120 here. So after, I don't know, 5 minutes max, he said, okay, you can go. I mean, you can just forget about that here. Common sense here for me, I mean, Africans are not well known for common sense. But
not really.
No, not really. This is absolute. But the way they communicate with you is like we speak now, very normal. There's no, you're not an authority and behaving like an authority. They're just like normal people. At least that's how I so far came to know them.
But in that case, you had money on you, and if somebody's driving and is making a mistake and has no money, so they get into a problem, and then it's also getting also bad.
No.
Maybe you saw the nice face of this policeman because you were able to pay right on the place.
But I did not pay.
I mean, you said the first time you gave him
No,
$2.
I gave him 2 Swiss francs.
Yeah.
My wife gave him, because I don't like to bribe really. But she said, okay, give him 2 Swiss francs, and then he's happy with it.
Swiss francs? Really Swiss francs?
Uganda shilling. Just that you know how much
Okay.
it was. It was nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
if I gave him 40 Swiss francs, this is a third of his salary per month.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
a lot, but we gave him very little. So this just shows that it needs very little to change their mind. We could still discuss if this is a good thing.
Yeah, but because this is open another discussion if it's really good, because if everyone is behaving like that, maybe you get the corruption again.
Yeah, you see, there are 2 systems here. I think for me, I mean, I've been watching that now for, as you know, let's say 40 years. Since I'm 16, I'm thinking about this life here and the implications and the complications. And there are 2 ways of corruption for me. African corruption, we know we call it corruption, yeah? Because let's say I need my passport, I give you $10, I will get my passport a lot quicker than if I don't give you $10, yeah, right? And then we have so-called, no, we don't even call it corruption, it's just daily use here in Europe, you see? But they are so corrupted. I mean, imagine Mr. Hildebrand, he was the chairman of the Swiss National Bank. He made $1 million Swiss francs per year, and he got fired in the end, and he got paid $1 million. So you tell me now, first of all,
it's ironical.
yeah, it's a bit ironic, because what is more corrupt, taking $1 million without having any responsibility, running away, you even get paid, and it applies to really with everybody in this system. I think for me, everybody is totally corrupt. If one of our parliament is making between minimum 200,000 up to 400,000 per year, are you calling that corrupt or not? Because he's not working for it. He's just expressing his own ideas, that is just fact. Do we get paid now? Do we get paid?
Maybe we find
No, we
someone.
don't. Not even a maybe. No, we don't get paid.
Yeah.
So why should these people be paid by just sitting together in a nice decorated room and getting paid hundreds of dollars for just expressing their own opinion?
I mean, there is another problem. I mean, they can even say they're working on projects and ideas and lead it to a certain way, but if they stop to work as a politician, then they keep on having this money, and
right.
this is one red
They get a pension,
for me.
right?
Yeah, they get this pension, this huge
Not
pension.
only this, they get a pension, but most of the time they find very lucrative jobs in heavy industries, like Mrs. What was her name? Metzler, like Mr. Schröder. They make huge money afterwards, even that. So I think the perspective is wrong here. You see, we talk about these guys, they make no money down there. They make let's say a government employee makes 100, 120, 150 Swiss francs per month. This is even down there very difficult to make a living. So how can you accuse them to being
Yeah.
This is almost impossible. These guys here, they live in wealth, they have the biggest and best cars. But the politicians are the same down there. They're just totally mindless, so even heartless, I would say. So this is just, again, the curse of Richelieu. You see, some people, they get elected. We talked about that last time. I was driving through Switzerland now, and then you can see these nice smiling faces. Mrs. Patricia, what's your name? I don't remember really. Anyway, you just make a little nice poster along the street, and this should give you, the voter, an impression to vote for you, even though we don't even know you. We don't know what you do, what you think, how you live your life, nothing. And then these people are elected, and most of the time, as we all know out of experience, as soon as they are elected, they sit in this made nest and they serve themselves.
Sometimes they have a good intention on the beginning, and when they come into this circle, they realize it's not that easy to really change, because the whole mass is so slow. But this is another discussion. I want to discuss more about Uganda, because they are beautiful horns from Uganda.
Okay.
So last time you told me a little bit about your visions to open.
No visions today, please.
No visions. Okay, a dream or a plan?
No plans. Just step by step. No.
Step by step.
Yeah.
So what about your retreat?
Just no plans, no visions today.
Okay, so it's secret. Just watch the German version.
Yeah, you know, the problem is that this experience with what my wife told me just changed my perspective again. We had, as you know, we had some plans. I also think they might come into reality one day, but I think we should take more time, because it's very, very risky. If you go too fast, they can arrest you. That's serious. Down there also, not only
but they
here.
arrest you for what reason?
They arrest you because you threaten the HIV industry, because you threaten the medical industry, and I can assure you we can tear that system totally down if you give us the freedom to act. But who wants to tear that system down? Nobody, because like here, I mean, who has the biggest houses in Africa? It's first of all the politicians, the biggest house and the nicest cars. First of all politicians, then you have lawyers, and then you have doctors. This is just a fact, you can see that.
Yeah, sure.
So if you threaten these little kingdoms, then...
So you have to open yourself, your kingdom.
What we are going to do now, we are going to register the products so that nobody can attack us. We are going to register a clinic.
What kind of products are you talking
Yeah,
about? All the one you have on Touch Wellness?
No,
or your horns?
We need only, down there we need only 5.
Okay.
We have, I mean...
5, what are the magic 5?
That's right, even magic 3. You know, down there it's very funny and very interesting, because the doctors are as blind as here. Why are they so blind as here? Because they were taught by our blind doctors, and as Jesus said, the blind is led by the blind, and they both fall into the pit. So we just had this example because this scared us a bit, because one doctor said that a customer of ours, she had an allergic reaction to our products, which cannot be the case. But this is very risky for us.
Yeah.
So the magic 3, in case some people from the US watch or listen, the first is definitely MSM. You have that a lot in the US. MSM is the magic substance for almost everything. Then you have the Shungit powder, but there are 2 different ones. You need the better one. Then you have the zeolite, lava stone, milled, grinded, and what else? And silver. With these 4, you can really defeat all African disease. Really, it sounds unbelievable, but it's really true. So these are the magic 4, and then you have very often, you know, people, even here, somebody told me yesterday, men, you know, not about sexual desire, but they do not function anymore. Yeah, in bed. Yeah, how they say. Yeah? You understand what I want to say. And just by giving them this is a lack of life energy. If they cannot function. So, as you say, this is like a shame for the men. And it's also painful. So if you have sexual intercourse and you cannot do it, then you have back pain and other issues which you might not know, but I know what I'm talking about. So if you just give them pine pollen, this will give a life force and people are functioning again. Mm-hmm. So 5, you were right, 5 magic products can cure almost any problem down there. And interesting is that these people, I don't know if we talked about that, these paralyzations, you know, the numbness of finger or even whole body parts, like this woman I was just mentioning about the cow horn person.
Yeah, but she was paralyzed.
Yeah,
right?
they call it paralyzation or numbness, and they cannot walk. They walk like a duck because they don't feel their foot soles anymore. So this is, I would say, about 60-70% of the people are affected.
Oh,
yes,
so much?
Absolutely, and it starts with even very young people. I had one guy, he was 22 years old. He had the whole right side was paralyzed at night only, interesting enough. And other people, any age really, any age.
And how they explain where it comes from?
They don't have an explanation, they suffer.
So this is just the region of Uganda, or is it more a bigger part of...
I met some people when I traveled back from Hong Kong in March. I met some people from the West Coast, they had the same problem. Mm-hmm. And I gave them a treatment with the eye wand. And then you need that stuff, these bracelets we talked about last time. And then within 1-2 days, even sometimes after 10 minutes, it's gone. I had a Swiss lady, I went to see her last Wednesday. She had fingertips like ice.
Like cold?
Like ice, so cold.
How old was she?
She was 65.
65.
After 1 week of taking pine pollen, she was touching me very, very hot, warm. And the pine pollen is anyway a miracle substance. 2 people, I saw one guy, he got rid of these varicose veins. How do you call that in English? Krampfaden. Varicose veins, something like this.
This ugly.
Very ugly. And sometimes very painful even. And within 1 week, disappeared.
It was gone.
Yeah. So with these kind of stuff, tourmaline powder for Africa, so 6, magic 6.
Okay, so this pine is this activating the blood circulation?
Yes, it's activating the whole body system really. Many organs, blood circulation, respiratory system, digestion.
Mm-hmm. And so tourmaline is giving more this, is energizing?
Energizing, it's activating cell energy, and it's detoxifying. And interesting enough, we have about 30% vaccination damage in Africa. A lot more than here, because all the old stuff, we don't want it anymore here, like the swine flu vaccination. 3.5 million vaccinations in Switzerland had to be thrown away.
So they send it back to Africa?
What do you mean back? They send it to Africa? No. Most likely. I don't think they will just burn them. They will donate them to Africa to cause, this is by the way very interesting.
Cause more illness.
Absolutely.
That the doctors have worked.
That they don't run out of money. It works like this, I can tell you out of experience, it works like this. You bring your little child in Africa mainly, here also, but not as many cases. You bring your little child and there you have almost compulsory vaccination. If you want to go to a hospital, they ask you, is your child vaccinated? If not, you have to be vaccinated. So the child...
So they urge the parents?
Absolutely.
To vaccinate?
It's a must, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a must. So if you don't do that, you cannot enter the hospital, and another thing is now happening. So let's say your child is vaccinated. After a certain time, we met some people, the child is developing some symptoms. Sometimes you can bring them in direct correlation with the vaccination, but unfortunately, these symptoms happen years after you have been vaccinated.
So you have no correlation, or you don't
Very
have
difficult,
the view. Yeah.
exactly, very difficult to find out. The pendulum will tell me, but for the people it's very difficult to find out, and nobody would take responsibility anyway. So the following thing happens. You will develop some symptoms and they look like AIDS. Yeah, you will fall sick all the time, you have respiratory problems, then you go to the doctor, he will make a checkup, and because your immune system is so rotten, so low, he will declare you an HIV patient. So he will set
But
you...
they don't make the tests?
They do.
Or
I don't know if I told you, but I met... This is not a joke, by the way, it is a fact. I met a lady, she's working at the HIV Research Institute in Kampala, and she has been researching HIV for the last 12 years. And now listen, I asked her, so what have you been able to find out within these 12 years? What do you think she told me?
This story you did not tell me.
What do you think she told me? Nothing. She told me nothing. Then I asked her, have you been able to discover the virus? To see it once? No.
To see it?
Yes. If there is a virus, you must be able to see it. No. So they are looking for something which they don't even know what they're looking for. They have never found anything. So they get paid millions. And you might have read in the newspapers they have Ebola disease spreading now. Yeah? But it's already, it was pushed up in the press a lot. 16 people died. And then the press hooked on it, for sure.
For a certain time and then
exactly changed. After 4 weeks I think the whole thing was gone, and then they made a very interesting statement on the front page of the newspaper. I saw it because I don't read the newspaper, but by coincidence, billions needed, billions to treat Ebola.
Oh.
Yes.
Just in Africa.
Just in Africa, but Ebola is only there. So just imagine what they do. This is creating a totally unnecessary demand for money. These scientists, they make a lot. They get paid. Who's paying them?
The farmer.
Who else?
The government.
Right. So who pays the farmer?
Who pays the farmer?
Yes.
We. Yeah.
Right. They don't have an open market really. They are protected by the health insurance companies. So the government, let's say, gives them some money, some millions, so that they can start researching, and then they research for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, don't find anything. So this is how you create a demand for money. You bring it in the press, and then it starts turning around in the people. So much money is needed to find out about Ebola.
Okay, but if we're coming back to the country, your wife comes from Uganda, right?
Yes, more or less, yeah.
More or less, okay. And you decided to live there, so there is a certain quality of living that attracts you there.
Absolutely.
That keeps you, that decides you to leave, because Switzerland is also quite beautiful. Not talking about the politicians, but it's also very beautiful and safe. But you decided to go with your family to Uganda. So what are the qualities of Uganda?
Okay, first of all, look, I talked to the lady who got rid of these, I was just talking about the lady with the fingertips. Yeah. And her niece, she's 8 years old, and she's going to school, because you have to go to school. And teachers have nothing else to do than press this little girl so hard that she's already with 8 years under such severe pressure that she might fall sick in the long term. They tell her you don't read properly, so she is going to need eventually...
But you're talking now about the Swiss family, right?
Yes, I'm trying to explain why in a way I escaped. I tried to escape this system, because this system is not only destroying my life, it's also destroying my children's life. And when I remember I mean, my brother is a good witness. I was very good in the first 5 years, and then I was very bad at school. So when I look at my life, school is just useless. Absolutely useless. If I just look back, and school is just useless. Absolutely useless. If I just look back and look at my life just from the school perspective, I would be a total loser.
Okay, but now your children are still small. They're going to the kindergarten, right?
No. This
Not
is
yet.
why I'm talking about it. No, and I don't. They can do whatever they want. If they want to go to the kindergarten, they can go. If they want to go to school, they can go to school. But I realized the girl is 3.5. Yeah, the boy is 4.75. I can tell you, after only 6 months in an English-speaking country, they both speak fluent English, which took me 3 years at school, and I was not even able to speak a proper English. I was not able to lead a conversation.
Yeah, because you don't live the language
Yeah,
here.
that shows me that, in fact, we don't really need this kind of pressure, because it's somehow naturally given that we learn, you see. I don't know what my kids want to do, but they see what we do. They see these horns, they see the muscle test, they see that, they know about the food, which is good, which is bad, so they're just brought up in this.
Okay, but this is a quality you bring into your family and you live it.
I could not live it here. I could not. They would stop me. Definitely.
Okay, so this is the main reason why.
One reason. Another reason is that what I already told you, you just have, it's not as regulated as here.
Okay.
You're just freer to do whatever you want.
So, but what are the reasons why the people should come to you and visit you in Uganda?
I did not say anybody should come. You see, if I can live there and I feel really very happy most of the times, besides when we travel on some really lousy roads, but let's say this takes...
This is also adventure, right?
Sometimes it's adventure, sometimes it's really annoying. So it's right what you say, sometimes it's really adventurous. Last time we were traveling, it was heavy rainfall, and we didn't know if we were going to make this passage because water was about 50 centimeters on the road. So I have never experienced something like this in my life before. So this is right, it's somehow adventure. On the other side, which people might not know, it's for the last 40 years it's very stable. Yeah? Even though you see some things on TV when some political oppositions go to the street. I mean, I can also show you some stuff in England when they burn down whole areas in London, or I can show you some bad stuff going on in you know what I mean. Eh? So I'm not affected in any way.
So you feel safe?
So far, I feel totally safe, and I traveled a lot.
You traveled to these national parks?
Yeah, we traveled, and I have never met or seen any violence at all. Not once. We saw accidents, but we also see accidents here. And for me, it's a very nice country in a way, because it's unspoiled. You see, when you live, you are right, Switzerland is just fantastic. But since I traveled through Uganda, it's just only number 2 now, because industry is a good thing, but on the other side it's also spoiling our landscape. If you travel to Switzerland, you have to go really to the mountains to see real landscape and nature.
Untouched nature.
Yeah, untouched, and there it's just, you can find that still. Also, I mean, we know that they also chop down their rainforests because they want sugar. But I think all in all, it's a good country. It's worth for tourists, by the way. You might not know. It's a great touristic country. It's not yet developed touristically, but you have good roads, great landscapes to see.
I saw a little video on YouTube about Uganda, so it showed also the Victoria Falls,
yes,
which are great for fishing.
Yeah.
They were catching huge fishes, about between 50 and 100 kilos, and the trek.
Gorilla trekking.
The gorilla trekking.
But this is a bit expensive. You see, this is gorilla trekking costs you per tour $500 just permission. So it's not everybody thing to I don't know, it's up to the people, but I think it's a bit expensive anyway.
But it is also not just to protect these areas, not to live in or to attract the mass tourists.
Yeah, there are no masses yet. Even in Rwanda, they have a well-established tourism, but there's no mass like in Europe. No.
Okay, so if someone wants to see the untouched African nature
Yep.
and the wildlife, so they should visit Uganda.
I think it's. I've never been to Tanzania. I've just flown over Kenya when it was very dry and there was a severe drought. Uganda has several advantages. The climate. It's never too hot. You are up above sea level 1,100 meters. So,
all over, or
yeah,
is it like a plateau?
No, it's like a plateau, but then you have very high mountains up to 4,500. And
that's the reason why there are no mosquitoes, dangerous mosquitoes.
That's right. In this beautiful mountain lake, there are no mosquitoes, no snakes, nothing at all. Where I live close to a swamp, really. Mosquito is not an issue so far. Surprisingly, really. Surprisingly. So climate is number one. Every day between 25, 28 centigrades. If it's raining, mainly it's raining at night. Starts at midnight, up to 5, 6 in the morning. Heavy rain. And then you have a day off. You can do your job during the day. Not always, but 90% for sure. What else? You have great soil. Everything grows.
Because it's unspoiled.
No, it's spoiled,
So-
sure. I mean, they are humans. They chop down their trees and they make big mistakes down there. They are not holy people in the sense that they know what they do. They make the same mistakes what we did, let's say, 150 years ago. We also had to realize, stop chopping down the trees, otherwise we get heavy erosion in the Alps, in the Black Forest. They are facing the same stuff now. They have to find out new things, new solutions.
So they have to invite the Swiss scientists to protect their own land.
The Swiss scientists and these advisors, they create the same mess which they create here because they advise them to plant pine trees. So you can see huge plantations with pine trees. What will this cause in the long term? If they are unlucky, they get the Borken careful,
Exactly.
and it's just prone to disease. So they chop down. They're very beautiful. I spent 1-2 days in the rainforest lodge, and it's just amazing. You see, it's really amazing. It's also amazing here, but there is really, you cannot experience something like this in Europe. It's impossible. You have to go to Africa to experience this. This is the only place except South America. But there, the climate for me is not as nice as in this Central Africa. These are the main advantages for me.
Okay.
So I welcome you. Really, we can take you around, have a good time. I would say minimum 2 weeks is necessary to be able
2 weeks.
minimum 2 weeks to grasp at least, let's say, the most beautiful spots. Welcome to Uganda. Welcome to Switzerland, by the way. I just met some American guys in Lago Maggiore. They also liked it very much. But it's just a different world, you see. Here, the rich people, they're also sick. And over there, the poor people, they're also sick.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for
Thank
watching
you.
and listening.